Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please go and leave a 5-star review. I read the best reviews so long as they are 5 stars. So go ahead and do that. Thanks so much. My domestic terrorist stand-up tour is continuing on. Got a lot of stand-up gigs coming up. June 3rd, that's a Thursday, I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio at Hilarities. And then June 12th, I'll be in Morris Plains, New Jersey. That's Tiff's Ale House or the Dojo East. So many different names. And then on June 18th, I'll be with the Comedians of the Compound in Bethel, Pennsylvania. I believe that venue is called Pat Garrett's Amphitheater. And yeah, a lot more dates coming up this summer. For details and ticket links, go to my website, ChrissieMayr.com, ChrissieMayr.com. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They are my go-to for all things CBD related. Cushy Dreams offers a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, also known as bud, in cans, and pre-roll CBD joints. It tastes great. It's just like high-quality weed, but you're not going to get high at all. You can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. There's under 0.3% THC. It helps you sleep. It helps you calm down. For me, it really helps with my anxiety. That's why I like to smoke it. And just, it's better. I don't know. I would do gummies, but I didn't feel like it did very much for me. So you too can join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. They take the artisan approach. Every run is in a small batch. It's 100% hand trimmed, never machine trimmed. They do independent lab tests to show compliance and purity, all of which can be found on their website, cushydreams.com, KUSHY dreams.com. And I'm choking. Cushy Dreams has CBD flower and pre-roll joints in specific indica sativa blends like Energy, Hustle, Relax, Create, and Dream. So if you want to be a little bit more up, maybe you do like a hustle or an energy, or if you want to calm down right before bed, you do like a peace or a dream. I really love their stuff. Best of all, it's grown here in the USA. So go to cushydreams.com, KUSHY dreams.com, and use promo code CMP at checkout to get 20% off. I believe you will also get free shipping. I don't know if I'll be able, I'll try to edit that cough out, but I'm not really a woman in tech, so odds are I probably won't. Enjoy my coughs, all you cough fanatics. I don't know if listening to coughs is a kink. I'm going to start it, though. So excited to have this girl on the podcast today. She is a YouTuber. She is an artist. Welcome. I always say welcome to the stage. Welcome to the show. That's Star Wars girl. Hi,
Hello.
Anna.
Hello. What's up?
What's up? What's up? I am so impressed with everything that is behind you. You're not just a fan, you are an artist yourself. Like take me through. I want to hear everything. Did you go to school to be an artist, or you just have always had that skill?
So I thought I was good when I was growing up, but really wasn't. But so I always wanted to be an astronaut.
What? Wow.
I wanted to go into outer space, and that's still like number one on my bucket list is I want to go into outer space. But then I realized as I got older, you have to be good at math. And I was like, oof. You know what I don't?
That's where they get you every time. Like you can't.
I know. I'm just like,
gotta add.
Calculator do that. But yeah, so I realized I'm like, I'm not good at math, but I like drawing. And from what I've heard from grown-ups is that do something that you love. And I remember when I, watching this documentary on the making of Star Wars and how George Lucas, he would pitch this idea and people thought he was crazy. And so he went and found an artist, Ralph McQuarrie. And Ralph McQuarrie was an artist and he was working for Boeing. And so George is like, here's these scenes. Can you just make me a picture? So that way when I go into these business people, I have like pictures to go along so they can visualize it. And so that kind of sprouted concept art. And so I remember seeing that. I'm like, you know what? If I can't go to outer space because I can't be an astronaut, also I'm not tall enough to be an astronaut. So that kind of sucked.
There's
too.
a height requirement for being an astronaut?
There is, which I think is kind of dumb because it's like you would kind of want the smallest people to go into space because you don't have that much space.
Yes. That's insane. How tall do you have to be?
You have to be, I believe, 5'4" for a woman. I think they lowered it because originally it was 5'6". And so I think now it's 5'4", which I'm still not tall enough. So I was like, I'm kind of
How tall are you?
I'm short. I'm a hobbit.
Are you 4'11"? Are you 5 foot
I
tall?
might be.
Oh.
I might be very little. But so then I decided to go to college for art, and I went to Academy of Art in San Francisco. I got my degree and been working ever since.
Wow, good for you. I had a similar experience. My first job out of college, I worked at Radio City Music Hall, and I was very dismayed to learn that there was a height requirement for the Rockettes because I was like, maybe I was holding out a shred of hope. You know, I did like a little bit of dance as a kid, but you had to be 5'6", or I think, yeah, you have to be between 5'6" and 5'10.5". And I learned that they arrange the Rockettes. The tallest girls are in the middle, and then it gets incrementally shorter as the line goes out. And I was like, I mean, I think I'm 5'2", 5'3", whatever, depending on like the time of day. So that's upsetting though about being an astronaut. Damn, I didn't know. I figure exactly being short would be an asset. You're taking up less space. I mean, you're floating around supposedly anyway.
I know. You would think that would be a plus, but I guess not. So even if I could have like powered through the math side of things, I wouldn't have been able to qualify to begin with. But then, so that was kind of disappointing. But then I was like, yeah, I'll go into concept art, and then I'll go work for George Lucas, and I'll work on some Star Wars project. And then, I kid you not, first semester of college, second week of class, I'm in my first Photoshop class. My professor walks in. He's like, George Lucas just sold Star Wars to Disney. And I was like, God damn it.
Oh, no. And didn't he go to your high school, George Lucas?
He did, yeah.
Wow. So where did you grow up?
So I grew up in the Central Valley of California. I'm from a tiny, tiny little town called Gustine, which is a Portuguese community. And then when I was, I think, 13 years old, my parents were like, this isn't working anymore. And so my mom left and had to go to a different high school. So literally summer before my first year of high school. So I started high school. I didn't know anyone. But
no, that's so rough.
It really sucked. But the only upside of it was that I was going to the same high school as George Lucas. And so that was cool. And then when I graduated, I gave a speech all about George and Star Wars. So.
Oh, wow. So you were a fan like really early on.
Oh, I've been a fan since I was 2 years old.
How 2 years old? Wow. I don't even remember anything until maybe like 4 or 5. What was your first experience?
So, well, my memories I'm weird. I remember very early childhood, and when it gets to 5 is when my memories start getting fuzzy. So when my parents decided that they wanted another baby, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I don't need another brother, sister. I'm perfect. You know.
Were you the only at the time?
I was the only one. Aww. And so I was not liking the idea of having to share my toys. And so, but
hell no. Shouldn't I be all the child you need?
So I didn't really get the concept of it though. I thought it was like another baby doll. And so at first I was like, oh, I'm getting a baby doll. And then my parents were like, no, Anna, it's a real baby. And so I was like, it's a baby doll that I can't play with. I don't like this idea.
You can't throw this one down the stairs. Yeah.
No. Aww. But so I obviously couldn't go with them to the hospital. So I stayed at my aunt's house. And so my parents had me when they were 36 and 37. And so all of my aunts and uncles, they all had kids that were significantly older than me and my sisters. So my aunt that I stayed with, my Aunt Susie, all of her kids were like over, a decade older than me.
Oh, wow.
So she didn't really have any kid toys or kid movies. And I was one of those little kids that if I only wanted to watch Disney princess movies. And so she had one, which I believe was Little Mermaid. And I was one of those kids.
That's the best one. Yeah.
Well, I was one of those kids that it's like, I'm watching the movie over and over again. And so she's like, Anna, I can't watch this movie anymore. And I was like, I don't care. We're watching this movie again because you don't have any other cartoons.
Aw.
She's like, what about this movie? I was like, no. What about this movie? No.
You were like,
And
I want to be where the people are.
like, I just want to watch the movie. I just
Yeah.
want to watch the kid movie with the princess. And she's like, what about Star Wars? I was like, no, I don't want to watch Star Wars. She's like, there's a princess in it. And I was like, let's turn it on right now.
And you were 2, or you were like a little older?
I was like maybe 2 3/4, but 2.
Wow.
Yeah, and so she shut me in a room, turned on Stars, and I remember not moving and like just being completely mesmerized. I was like, "This is the best thing ever!" And then she's like, "Oh, do you want to watch the other ones?" I was like, "There's more." And
Oh
so
my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, then my dad came and picked me up, and I was like, "Daddy, I want a lightsaber!" And he's like, "What?"
That's
shocking.
That's amazing. Well, yeah, I mean, it really is like a whole experience. Like, it's hard to know. It's like, it's the music, it's the visuals. It's like, it's a very impressive, overwhelming. That just shows like how like wonderful taste you had at such a young age. Like, that's amazing. And if it weren't for her, like, yeah, you'd be, I don't know, maybe you'd be like obsessed with Frozen or something, or still, and like, or you'd be one of those adults who like loves it. Are you one of these adults who like loves Disney and like you have to go every year?
Like Disneyland?
Yeah, like Disneyland or Disney World.
I live like 5 minutes south of Disneyland, so I used to go all the time because I had friends that were cast members, so they just
okay.
It's if you live down here, it's like the thing to do. But
yeah.
So I mean, I still like Disney. I don't really like any of the new stuff because there's no heart to it. It's just like, oh, it. I would say it's just to sell toys, but I mean, all of their movies are basically to sell toys, but just they're very predictable. They're not interesting anymore. And even when they redo something like Frozen, okay, that's the Ice Queen. They do it in a way that even though I liked Frozen, I haven't seen the second one, but it's like even Rapunzel, like Tangled. I did not like Tangled. Everybody
I haven't seen it yet.
It's very forgettable. I just don't like it. So I prefer to watch the old stuff, especially because just how much work went into each movie. And like, I love Mary Blair. I absolutely love her work. And so even though Alice in Wonderland is not my favorite movie, I just like to look at it because it's so visually appealing to me. So I am kind of a little bit of a Disney nut here. I'll show you. I'm
oh my God, I love your whole background. I love all your stuff.
So I'm working on this collection of like Disney plush.
God, this is so cute.
So my concept, because I love Toy Story, is like just to get all of like the Disney toys and then to show like a scene if you just walked in on the toys that freeze, when you come in the room.
So are they hooking up? No, I don't know why my mind always goes sexual.
No,
but like,
so this is I know it's kind of hard to see. So this is the Peter Pan
story. That's a book. Okay, I thought that was like a bed cover. Okay.
No. So it's all of the Neverland characters, and they're about to read the story of Peter Pan that Wendy wrote, which is why Wendy is not here.
Oh my God, that's so cute. And who's that little guy?
That's TikTok, so that's like a mini version of the crocodile.
Oh, TikTok. Yes, I'm familiar with all his videos.
Oh God, not that TikTok.
When for you do you feel like Disney like lost its heart around like between which movies?
I would, sadly enough to say, probably when Bob Iger started to take over. And so there was a phase, I think it was mostly during my childhood, when movies were coming out like Treasure Planet, like Atlantis, that weren't hitting what they wanted at the box office. And so they weren't seen as successes. But if you look at a lot of movies, it's like, yeah, they might not have been huge successes in the beginning, but they're kind of timeless and they're cult classic type of movies. And so when Bob Iger took over for Michael Eisner, he decided to, let's buy Pixar and then let's get John Lasseter to run both Pixar and Disney Animation Studios. And I love John Lasseter, but they sacrifice the storytelling and the magic of it for let's pop out a movie, let's pop out a movie, let's pop out a movie, let's pop out a movie. And if you even go back and look at like when Glenn Keane left, so when they shut down their 2D department and Glenn Keane was like, all right, I'm out, that's like when it died for me. So
oh man, so like what was because I remember growing up, like I loved The Little Mermaid, I loved Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and then I think after that my mom was like, I'm gonna stop buying you tapes. Like what then we discovered Blockbuster, yeah. And then to me it seems like Disney is just, yeah, they want to pop out like new characters. All right, we need characters in every like gender, shape, size, hair type so that people will buy the toys that look like them. Or I don't know. It's just like sometimes it bothers me when people go like inclusivity over like quality of story. That's just like the conversation
there
I
is
have.
a way to do it. They just are too lazy to do it. And I think that's one of the most irritating parts of it, because if you actually go and look at the people that are complaining about it, it's like, well, how many movies have you seen? It's usually not a long list, because all the things that they're complaining about have already been done, especially like with Star Trek as like the number one. They're like, oh, here's the first non-binary character. And it's like, okay, go watch the original series, go watch The Next Generation, go watch freaking Star Trek Enterprise. I mean, the first species that they encounter is an androgynous species that are all non-binary characters.
Wow. Right. And they weren't knocking you over the head with it.
No, it's just part of the story. And I mean, Star Trek is the really big one when it comes to, we need diversity, we need this, we need this, we need this. It's like, okay, go watch Star Trek. All of that stuff you want is in that. From the freaking 60s, like, come on. So when people complain about that, even in Disney movies, it's like, well, if you want that, okay, first off, why don't you write a really good story? And discard the sexuality, unless there's some kind of romance where the sexuality needs to be important, discard that. Discard the race, unless it's critical to where they are in the world. Everything else, base it on the story. Like, what is this person's personality? What do they like? What do they dislike? What are their pros and cons? Because guess what? Every person has a good side just as well as they have a dark side. We all have done things and have things that we're not proud of, bad character traits. Like me, I'm lazy. I don't like getting out of bed. I like sleeping. I also procrastinate. Those are, not good character qualities, but write that in your character. I mean, look at Peter Pan. He's kind of a dickhead half the time. I know people love Peter Pan and they're going to get on me for that. But I mean, just go watch the movie. He's a good guy, but I mean, he's got his bad qualities. Same with Wendy. And you can go through all of the different Disney characters, and then it's just frustrating because when you have this conversation with someone, they immediately block you, or they just don't want to listen because you're trying to point out these things to them. But it's like, go watch. If you're complaining about these things, you haven't read very many books, you haven't seen very many TV shows, and you haven't watched very many movies if this is what you're complaining about.
So why is it so hard to have this conversation? And it's like, why? Yeah, why? I don't know. Maybe people feel like they need to take a side, or they need to.
They're just virtue signaling. That's all it is.
Yeah, a good story can be. I mean, like, think of all the like characters that have been animals. It's like it shouldn't matter. Yeah, what their gender or race.
With lions,
Yeah, like the crab, the
Sebastian.
Sebastian. I feel like he was such a romantic. Do you feel like Twitter is like a horrible place to try to have these conversations, or do you find like you can find some common ground, or maybe find like YouTube and doing like collaborations? Like I know you get on with Friday Night Tights, you'll jump on there quite a bit, or do you do like have you done? Is it Jeremy Hambling? Is it Jeremy's show? I'm trying to think like
Quartering. I've been on the Quartering.
Okay,
twice. I've been on Friday Night Tights twice, but it's been like I think at least a year and a half now. Last time I went on, there was a raccoon incident, so I haven't been on.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
And then I do a show called The Jack Show, and then I'll do. I kind of just like popping on other people's shows just because I'll do my own live streams, but I mean, I just kind of have fun getting to nerd out with people. So it's like, oh, cool,
Is it easier to have these kind of conversations, right? Like in a live stream format rather than trying to like hash it out on Twitter?
Oh, there's no point in hashing something out on Twitter. I mean, I feel like Twitter is just, first off, there's a lot of stupid people on Twitter. Like all of the stupidest people in the world that have cell phones are on Twitter. And it's it's one of those things where it's like, all right, what is everyone mad about today? Let's see how stupid it is. And it's just kind of just there to laugh at. And then when you see other people that are witty and it's like, oh, I like that person. That person made a funny point. That person made a funny point. Okay, I like this person. This person's smart.
Oh yeah, you have to laugh. Like you have to laugh. Like I don't ever like pretend to be smart, but I'm just like, yeah, if I can just take something that's going on and
Oh no, like your
try to
tweet
make light of it.
it made me laugh so much about the non-binary Demi Lovato.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my
Like it's
God.
just like whatever it is to get attention. Like that's what my sexuality is. Like whatever that's going to get the most clicks and keep me relevant.
Yeah.
That's what I am. Yeah, I used to like make this joke like, "Oh, I used to think I was pansexual." Like, what's a pansexual? Just someone who's turned on by a hot meal? Like, yes, anyone who buys me food. That's what I'm into.
Like every college student.
When do you feel like you kind of because you always love Star Wars, so when did you kind of branch out into more like Marvel and different universes?
Marvel, I remember when the movie came out, and I was in high school when Iron Man came out, and I like classic rock, so when I saw that trailer and you got Robert Downey Jr. and it's the Iron Man theme,
You're like, woo!
Explosions, yeah. I was like, this looks cool. So I always like superheroes, so I love Batman. Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series. I feel like superheroes, Star Wars, and like fantasy, and that's what I really like. I really like not reality. I like fantastical stuff, and if it's a good story, like okay, Batman, one of the most compelling characters ever written, right? Superman, again, and you have all of these different characters, and I remember when I was younger and Spiderman came out, the Tobey Maguire one, and I was never a really big Spiderman fan. I'm still not. Like, he's not my favorite go-to superhero, but I remember me and all my friends seeing that movie, and that was like the cool thing was Spider-Man. And so when Iron Man came out, I'm like, awesome, cool, Iron Man. And I'd seen the Incredible Hulk one. That one didn't really stick with me, but and then
he wasn't as handsome. It was, yeah, I couldn't really get on with that either. It's a little more difficult.
I feel like with the Hulk, the Edward Norton one, because I was so young, it didn't really resonate with me. And even still, like, I've seen that movie, God, I don't even know how many times, but there's only certain scenes that I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember. And the rest of the movie is just kind of a blur. But so when Iron Man came out, and then, what was it, Thor next? And then all of a sudden, because I was a teenager in high school, the last thing I was doing was looking at, movie news. And so once I realized, oh, these are all connected and they're all leading up to something, then I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. So 2009 is, I guess, when I got into the MCU when Iron Man came out. And then I feel like everything else, just as it came out or as I was introduced to it, I just kind of got into it. So it was always Star Wars. And then a little bit older, I got into Star Trek because my dad's like, you like this? Okay, let's watch this.
Oh, the proud moment where the dad's like, I can share my nerdy stuff with my daughter. I didn't see this coming.
Oh yeah, cool. So my dad is kind of a huge nerd, and so my sisters aren't, but I'm the nerd. So me and my dad will have those we'll text like when the new Mad Max Fury Road movie was coming out. I just had this memory pop up on my Facebook, and my dad's texting me like, oh, I'm getting tickets to this IMAX, and I'm gonna meet you.
That's so nice. Yeah. Oh my God. I wish my dad liked to do stuff with me. He just seemed like very resentful of like all three of us. Like we were a drag. It's okay. I'm definitely over it and clearly have had therapy.
That was me and my mother for a very long time.
Right? It's like, yeah, you're always closer to one parent. It's unless you're from like a freak family. Like, no, both my parents, like there was this girl I knew in college, like I went and visited her house over spring break, and like just watching both her parents like just get along and being nice to each other. I'm like, what is this? Like, what planet are we on?
Bizarre, right?
I was like, what is happening over here in Texas? But it's all good. So how did your YouTube channel start? Because you have a fantastic YouTube channel. I'm going to share it on the screen. So how did you go from, fan to having amazing YouTube channel?
Thank you. So I never intended YouTube to happen, so it 100% by accident. So how it happened was I had graduated from college and I had moved down to Southern California, and this is like where my boyfriend lives. So, and I was like, oh, cool. Well, you know, work is down there anyway, so I can just move down there and things will be all handy dandy, you know, and got tickets for The Last Jedi. And when I had seen The Force Awakens, there was a lot of questions that I had, but I was like, no, because it's the first movie in a trilogy, all the, like, everything that I'm speculating, or all these things that are kind of like plot hole-ish, or all these problems that I have, they're all going to get answered in the next movie. So I didn't really stress out about the things that I had problems with in The Force Awakens. And I watched that movie so many times looking for new things, so that way I could have all of these theories in my head. And to be honest, I never really watched YouTube. Unless something was broken and I needed to fix it.
Yeah, what
Mainly
girls
in
like
my
never
car.
watch YouTube. Like I don't know what it is, and I never got into YouTube until I dated somebody who was really into watching YouTube videos. Like I don't know, I just, it never occurred to me to
Well, so
like
I was
go
like,
there.
makeup tutorials, hair
Mhm.
tutorials, art tutorials, and how to fix something that I broke. That's the
Yeah.
only reason I used YouTube. So I didn't even know that there was people out there making fan theory videos about Star Wars. So that was completely new to me. And so again, Force Awakens came out, all these ideas, me thinking it's going to be the best movie ever. Like, you know, they're going to answer all these questions, going to be this big epic thing. And I'm like, oh, The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker is going to do something awesome, and it's going to just blow my fucking mind, right? Oh, can I cuss?
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever. It's no big deal.
Okay. Well, so I got tickets for the night of the premiere and then the next morning, because I wasn't sure what my work schedule was going to be like. And so, again, everyone my entire life has known me as that weird Star Wars girl. That's where my channel
Oh.
name came from. But it was kind of a derogatory term, like, oh yeah, Anna, she's that weird Star Wars girl kind of thing. And so me and my boyfriend, we went and saw The Last Jedi, and I was dropping F-bombs within the first 5 minutes.
Oh no.
I was like, what the is this shit? And I kept waiting for it to get better and for like Luke Skywalker to say, oh, gotcha. Like, I'm totally just fucking with all of you. And it didn't happen. And as we were like leaving the movie, I'm just livid. And my boyfriend's like, what's going on?
He doesn't know. He's like, he doesn't understand your rage. Yeah.
No, so it's one of those opposite things where I'm the real hardcore nerd, and he's just like, yeah, it's just a movie, you know, it's cool, she likes it. But he was like, what's going on? My girlfriend loves this, like, she does not like Star Wars. And I was pissed. I'm just like, did you prank me? Like, did you and all my friends, is this like a punked gotcha moment? And this isn't the real movie. Like, there's no way this could be the real movie. And I had like a margarita before we went in. So I was like, I mean, I drink more than this, so I don't think I'm drunk. I don't think I'm misseeing anything.
Is it the tequila? Yeah.
So the next morning, I went and saw the movie again sober. And
this was The Last Jedi, or this was the one before?
Last Jedi.
Okay.
Last Jedi. Because I thought The Last Jedi was going to be awesome. It was going to answer almost all of the plot holes or all the questions that I had from The Force Awakens. And so I go in and I'm sitting there in the theater and I'm like, I'm completely sober.
Now you're auditing it like a student, you know, you're there like
it was
the
even
clipboard.
worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I was livid. And I went on Facebook because I didn't have Twitter, and I'm just going off and like, this is the worst movie ever. This is not Star Wars. And I'm just going off. And I swear, everyone that's ever known me in my entire life has known me as Anna, that weird Star Wars girl. And so my DMs just blew up. Everyone was asking me, like, what do you mean you don't like a Star Wars movie? And so I was writing these like long novel messages and sending it to everyone and like copy and pasting and like editing little things based on certain people asking me. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I've spent like 3 days answering people's questions. It's too many. I'm just going to make one video and hopefully that'll answer everyone's questions. And it was too long to post on Facebook. So I uploaded it to YouTube and I just sent it to everyone. And I don't think anyone really watched it except for people that I had no other people in the world. And then it just kind of started blowing up. And so I did a second video because everyone's like, oh, who are you? Why do you only have one video up? And I was like,
You're
I'll
like,
just kind of
all my feelings went into this. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did another one, and then people were telling me, oh, because I was completely shocked because I wasn't paying attention to everything that was going on. Because I mean, I just graduated from college. I was working. I wasn't paying attention to, kind of the culture war that was going on. And I'm still now finding out about stuff that happened back then.
Oh, wow.
And so I watched this interview with Kathleen Kennedy, and she basically said in it that, oh, yeah, girls couldn't relate to Luke Skywalker. They could only relate to Princess Leia. And I lost my shit.
It's so like condescending to say, that's like really calling women stupid. Like,
well, okay, if you can only identify with somebody that looks like you and has the same gender, then that's very not only condescending, but that's very simple-minded, because I think that's one of the beautiful things about storytelling is being able to relate to somebody that you have absolutely nothing in common with. Like, empathy, that's a really big thing that I think a lot of people are lacking. So I did this 40-minute video where I just ripped her a new one, because I'm just like, I grew up on a farm, and the moment when Luke Skywalker looked at the binary sunset, that like touched my soul. And so because that video blew up, it catapulted my first video, and then my channel just kind of exploded. And
wow,
I'm still doing it. So yeah.
And so what year was that first video?
I want to say 2018 or 19. I'm not sure.
Wow. Yeah. So like not that long, like not that much time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, completely on accident. And so I'm just here, and I'm still doing it. Let's see.
Are you trying to look for your
I am. Like,
first
when did
one?
it come out? It says 3 years ago. So yeah, 2019, I guess.
Oh wait, let's go to your I guess it's at the bottom. No, here we go.
You have to go to videos, because I have it all
organized.
And then, if you go back up to the top, and it'll say sort by, and then you can go to oldest.
Oh my goodness.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
So the only thing I had on before was this vinyl for like my sculpture.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, your like look has really evolved.
Yeah. I went back from the side part to the center part because I didn't want to look like I was 14.
Like, if I look at this really quickly, it's almost like an AOC vibe.
Oh God.
I'm just kidding. Wow, this is so cool. Good for you. Yeah, this is very impressive. Very cool. And isn't it wild, like the whole, and I'm pretty like new in the YouTube world too, because I was like just not a person who would watch YouTube videos. But one of the greatest things is being able to connect with like all sorts of people.
Yeah.
And it really helps like give you like a nice varied, textured, opinion on things.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best friends now I would have never met if it wasn't for YouTube. And so it's crazy because it's like the first time in my life I found like my people, because I was always alone.
Yeah.
I was always like the one nerd, and even when I found other nerds, they were never as into it as I was. So it's like, yay.
Yeah, it's almost like you observe and you see so much, and you're like, am I the only one who sees this? Am I the only one who had these expectations for this movie? And like, am I crazy, or did they drop the ball? And it's nice to like not feel alone in those thoughts.
Oh yeah, I was like, because I mean, well, at least when I was in the theater, there was other people that were upset. So I was like, I wasn't the only one, but that's why I was like, is this even real? Did you prank me? Like, to my boyfriend, I was like, did you guys, my other friends, did you guys
show me the wrong movie somehow?
Yeah, I was like, there's no way this is real. So finding out that there was other people, and I was just like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Like, this is the real movie, and I saw the real movie, and it's just that fucked up. And then I found out what was going on in the world, because I had no idea like what an SJW was, or why any of this stuff. Because I mean, I basically lived in my studio, and I was painting and drawing and like doing all of my work to just try to graduate from college, and then actually working and paying bills. And so I wasn't paying attention to anything. Again, I wasn't on Twitter. I don't read the news. I don't watch the news. So I was just kind of in my little bubble.
Yeah, I know that those movies for me were like the first big like glaring example of like, oh, this SJW culture like seeping into our entertainment. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh man, like I have to be a little bit more vocal about this. But it's wild. I really like what you said before about, you've always had an affinity for like the fantastical, and obviously you're like, you're an artist, so you see things through like an artist's vision. And I was looking at one of your videos and you were talking about this not that no, it's not fan art, J. Scott Campbell's Spiderman art of Mary Jane. And you were like trying to explain, you're like, because I guess feminists are like losers, or I don't know, people who like, I was trying to figure it out. I was like, oh, is this basically the backlash was coming from like, J. Scott Campbell drew Mary Jane in a way that people were angry with. They thought it was like not a realistic woman, and like whether it was or it wasn't, it's like that's why people are drawn to art and things of beauty. And it's like, what bothers me is like, why is there an obsession? And this is obviously like this is a cultural thing, not an artist thing, but like there's a cultural obsession with like making fantasy realistic. And like, oh, you need to draw like the women that look like tree trunks and the guys that look like thumbs, the people that don't like work out. And it's like, nobody's buying that. Like, I don't know.
It's so what I've learned, and especially from observing, it's people that are miserable. They don't want to be around happy people. It's especially from being around people that are truly miserable, because I lived in San Francisco, so I was around a lot of that. But so it's like you have a happy person and a miserable person will come in and just suck the energy out of the room, because if they're miserable, they want everyone else to be miserable around them, because they don't want to be reminded that they're miserable. So when it comes to art, and a big thing that a lot of people have problems with is their self-esteem with their body, right? A lot of people are very self-conscious about their body. So when you have women that are upset because maybe they aren't happy with their weight, they're not happy with their chest size, they're not happy with their hair, their nose, their eyes, their lips, anything, and then they see something that is what they want to be, and then they get upset that they're not that thing. So they project their anger onto it. So when it comes to art, oh, well, women don't really look like that. That's not realistic at all. And then it's like, well, do you not see like models? Have you never looked at a Victoria's Secret ad? I mean, have you never looked at a TV before? I mean,
like, beautiful women do exist. Like there are a lot of women that are like near perfect, and it's like, yeah, I love looking at those women. Like, it's to deny that people are like, humans are just attracted to beauty, whether it's women or men. It's like, yeah, and shouldn't that be the goal? Like, shouldn't we be like, yeah, like let's highlight the people who take care of themselves.
People don't like to work. People, I feel, have gotten very lazy now that we have electricity, we have running water, we don't have to worry about food, at least in certain, parts of the world. And so because of that, we don't really have, aside from going to work, which even then some people don't even do that, going to work, paying bills, what's left for a lot of people? Nothing. And some people don't have hobbies. A lot of people just sit at home and they're on their phones all day. And so they get into deep depressions, or they're miserable and they're just not motivated to do anything. So what do? They project their own inadequacies onto other things, and then they fixate on something that makes them angry, like art, like J. Scott Campbell's drawing. A woman looks at that and goes, I don't look at that, it makes me angry. A man looks at that and says, I can't get a woman like that, it makes him angry. And so they take out their anger on that. This doesn't really happen with anime, except for certain people trying to clout chase. Because you know what's different? Anime doesn't look realistic. It's cartoony. You don't look at, most people don't look at an anime cartoon as like, oh, that is like J. Scott Campbell's drawing. It's not as realistic. So there's that disassociation. But when you have something like Mary Jane, like Wonder Woman, things that are drawn in a certain way to where there is that element of realism, even though it is stylized, and it is close enough to where they can look at that and see themselves or not see themselves in it. And it's just, they're looking at everything that they don't have, and that makes them angry.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And it's like, you look at this drawing, it's like, okay, like the average woman doesn't look like this, but like, yeah, like there are women who have like their hips curved like that, and they even like you posed like it, and like your boobs told you were so cute. You're like, look, I have boobs. They make this line in my shirt. Like, you're just like, look at my boobs. They do this. This is how they look. This is real.
Because then I'm just like, honestly, a lot of people online are children. And
Yeah.
because we don't know their age, like I get it. This happens to me all the time. If you're going to talk to me, I'm assuming you're an adult. So I speak to you like you're an adult, and like, I'm a child. And it's like, well, then don't speak to me. If you don't want to be taken, if you don't want me to treat you like an adult, then don't come to an adult platform and talk to me on it. And so that's why I said, I'm like, well, I mean, right now you can see the outlines of both of our boobs kind of in a way.
Yes, this is what gets some people to watch. Some people just watch me on mute.
Well, so I mean, if you've never seen a woman or an adult woman, then yeah, you probably don't know what boobs look like. So I mean, you can go back and look at some of the classic artists, especially in sculpture work, or even when they were drawing, and you can go see how they didn't have female models. And so a lot of the women, if you go look at classic art, they are very masculine looking women, and the boobs are just literally like just circles drawn on them or sculpted onto them because they had never seen boobs before. So, I mean, that is an issue, which, I mean, ignorance is bliss in a way. But when you get to that and you're going to do an art critique, especially on somebody like J. Scott Campbell, and you're going to say, oh, well, this is unrealistic. Women don't look like that. It's like, well, first off, you don't know anything about Mary Jane, because Mary Jane is a model. Like, she is the apex of what a woman could be. That is part of her character.
Like, Spiderman is cleaning up. He's Spiderman. He can get whoever he wants, okay?
And you know what's funny? I didn't see anyone complaining about how tight Spider-Man's little bubble butt was in that drawing. In the same exact one. Nobody gets mad about the way that J. Scott Campbell draws men. They always get mad whenever they see a feminized woman.
And it's like, who's making the majority of that noise? Is it male feminists or is it women? I bet it's women. I bet it's women who are jealous.
From male feminists. A lot of male feminists. I feel like sometimes when it comes to J. Scott Campbell's work, I feel like I see more men complaining about it than women, because I feel like us women, we like pretty things, and he draws women really pretty. And so from what I've seen, from what I've experienced firsthand, it's been more men that complain about it. And then some women, but those women are very young. They're not, I want to say mid-20s, but honestly, probably early 20s and up. The ones that complain are usually teenagers, at least that I've interacted with. But I mean, there's other characters that women will complain about, especially when it's more of a like a Wonder Woman or like a fighting type of woman. They're like, well, she's not buff enough, like She-Hulk. It's like, well, then you don't understand She-Hulk, because you showed a kind of a thing from the video, but so they did She-Hulk, and they're like, oh, well, let's just make her look as manly as possible. It's basically Hulk with a ponytail. And it's like, well, you don't understand She-Hulk, because the part of getting gamma radiation is that it releases your eye, which is a psychological thing. So it allows you to become your inner version of yourself, of what you aspire.
Oh, like your third eye, you mean?
Yeah. Like
yeah.
Well, so with She-Hulk, it's like when she gets the gamma radiation, it makes her more feminine, outgoing, and confident, and beautiful, and sexy. So she prefers to be She-Hulk. And so when I did the redraw of She-Hulk, they all lost their minds, because like, she has more Bruce's blood in her. She would be more masculine. It's like, well, then you really don't understand her, because if she had more blood, she'd be even more feminine.
Right. It's like female, super female. It's everything just like jacked up that's feminine. And then so this, these drawings, is this like what they are like more so pushing now? Like these like quote regular body types?
Diverse body types, because they want you to be able to see what we see in real life. But my biggest issue is if I see a superhero and I'm like, okay, if a bad person is trying to kill me, trying to rob me, if I look at the superhero and go, no, I kind of don't need you, I could probably take care of this on my own, and they're not a superhero. And I get it. Certain people want to push things for agendas and stuff. If you want a character to be X, Y, and Z, and, maybe they have to look like X, Y, and Z, okay, so write a story where that is a crucial part of the story and the character development and character arc. Don't take an already established character and change it just because you want to fit your narrative. That's when creativity and storytelling dies.
Like when you're trying to wokeify like a story that's already really successful. It's like you're just trying to like piggyback off of something that already works, and then get bonus points for being like woke and inclusive. It's really it's like super gross. It's like the least creative thing you could do.
Well, I mean, a lot of people just aren't creative anymore. And I mean, there's ways to do things. Like there was potential in the story, the the terrible one. So I don't know if you know, but I've gotten canceled on Twitter like, I mean, at least 20 times. I
Really?
feel like every
Yes.
week I'm getting canceled on Twitter, but there was one that was really hardcore, which was the I am not Starfire. And so there was potential in this character, and I even tried to do like a little backstory on it to try to help with it, because the concept is, well, Starfire has like a gay daughter and she's overweight and she doesn't want to be anything like her mom. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a story that can actually be a good story where it's like, okay, what if your mother is this beautiful alien superhero that everyone in the world loves and you're nothing like your mother?
The bar is set so high. Yeah. Everyone can-
Exactly. I'm like, so many girls or even guys, so many people can relate to, having to live in the shadow of your parent. And so there's a story there. There could be a very good, compelling story there. But they decided to just make it all about her sexuality, which I get it if you're a teenager and you're going through those things, but it's like, why wouldn't you have this opportunity to create this brand new character? Why wouldn't you make it as epic and awesome as you possibly could? And if the only thing that's interesting about a person is who they want to fuck, then they're probably not the most interesting person out there.
Yeah.
Even James Bond, yeah, he's got a Bond girl in every movie, but what else is he doing? Oh yeah, he's James freaking Bond. He's out there killing bad guys. He's got a mission. Yeah, he's got a couple girls here and there. But I mean, there's so much more to the character than just that. So why wouldn't you do something like that? And so it's just, it's so disappointing at the the wasted potential.
Yeah. What would you like? I mean, do you feel like things can be turned around? What would you like to see? Like if you could change the way, I mean, God, it almost feels like too much because then you have to unravel like several movies, and it's tough because like we don't know how the movies could have gone. We just know how they went and what was disappointing about what we saw. But maybe, I don't know, would it take, new storyline, new characters, like a whole new series, maybe to restore your faith, or you're just kind of like,
in Star Wars or in
yeah, more so with, well, Star Wars feels like a little bit tied up. I mean, unless like we see where like the Mandalorian goes, like the new season, I guess that's coming out. But do you feel like that can be continued on, the Star Wars movies?
I mean, everyone that's working there needs to be let go before it can get
no big deal, just everyone. Yeah,
before it can get well, there's some people that are absolutely fantastic. I think the problem is the people that get to make decisions there, they all need to go bye-bye because they are not good at what they do. And so with these companies, and the reason why I say everybody that's there, so a lot of times when you have companies like Disney, is they will just contract out work. So, call up somebody, hey, I want you to work on this project. And, it's a freelance job. You do the project, you get paid. That way they don't have to pay any, insurance
yeah,
and stuff like that. So a lot of creative people that work on these movies or on these video games, they're all contracted out. So it's like, okay, I'm working on this project for this time, then I'm free time after that. So I'm talking about the main people that are in charge of story groups and lore experts, even though they don't know anything about Star Wars. They all need to go. And it needs to be people that actually care, that actually are knowledgeable about Star Wars, and that are actually good at telling stories, because special effects only take you so far. And I remember when we met on the Quartering stream, we both discovered we're Scorpios. So
yes! Oh my God, Scorpio sisters. Wait, yeah. What's your date?
I am at the end of October on a Halloween movie.
Okay. I'm a November Scorp. So
yeah. See, I never meet October. Everyone's always in November, so I was like, I just missed the cutoff for November. But so I don't know if you're like this, but I live for problem solving.
Yeah,
it's like solving a mystery for me. Mm-hmm. So when I'm presented with, okay, how do you fix Star Wars? I'm just like, all right, challenge accepted, kind of thing. So I remember when I tried to figure out a way to answer the problem with Rey on why she's a Mary Sue. This was before Rise of Skywalker came out, and I had this entire concept in my mind, and I made this like hour-long video, and I only sent it to 2 people because it wasn't like an edited video. It was just me and like stream of conscious. And so I sent it to 2 of my friends, and I mean, I thought it was a good idea on how to fix it and how to make other movies like Obi-Wan. And this was before Obi-Wan, the series was announced. And I was like, this is how you can answer certain questions with like an Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy that it will lead into other movies. Because my thing is, if you're going to make something, obviously you want to make money too. That's a big thing. And you want to make money based on the storytelling being good, not because you're trying to sell merchandise. And so I'm like, if I could tell a compelling story that answers these questions, that also leads opportunity to other stories, then that's a way to keep this franchise alive. Because I don't know about you, but when I read books or I watch movies and the main character dies and then it's like, well, the story's over. I'm like, well, I hate that. I want the story to continue because I like this stuff. So keep telling me the damn story. Like Lord of the Rings. What the hell happened to Frodo? I remember being a kid and I was so angry. I mean, I love the movie, but I was like, I want to see the next one. Where did Frodo and Gandalf and all of them go? I want to see the next movie when they get off on the other land.
Yeah.
Before, I realize what actually happens. And so the way my mind works is like, I just want to keep answering those questions but do it in a way that's as cool and as awesome as possible. And so when I look at something like Star Wars, I'm like, challenge accepted. And I have a list of people that I know that would be good to help me, that are not only lore experts, but are good at X, Y, Z, and C things. So
who like, could you name any of these people that like, if you were in charge of hiring, like who you'd love to see working on like the future of Star Wars?
So I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That would be insane.
Yeah. Well, so he's a big Star Trek fan. And so there's audio where he's talking about how he would want to like make a Star Trek movie. But I'm like, okay, if you were, and I just said this on like a live stream. So this idea just popped in my head because somebody asked like who would direct a Star Wars movie. And I'm like, okay, have to be a rated R Star Wars movie. I know, kids and whatnot, but
like they'll see it when they're older. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, my parents were cool and they would have just let me watch it, even, because I mean, I watched a lot of movies that I shouldn't have when I was a very small child, but I mean, it didn't really affect me because all the grown-up stuff kind of went over my head. But so I would have Quentin Tarantino directing a movie, have Samuel L. Jackson, and this is just an idea that popped in my head like 2 days ago. So there's probably a lot of plot holes as I pitch this idea to you. But so let's say Mace Windu had a twin brother who was not gifted in the Force in any way, right? And so that way Quentin Tarantino gets to work with Samuel L. Jackson and have Samuel L. Jackson not a Force user, but, and he whole life had to know, yeah, my twin brother is like the main guy. He's the main Jedi. So when Order 66 went down, he finds out his brother died, and, it's just like shitty. And so maybe if it's Quentin Tarantino, he's probably going to be, a bounty hunter, a smuggler, something on that end, maybe dealing with the Hutt, something that Quentin Tarantino would be very, very good.
Have really great feet. Yeah.
And so my thing was like something would happen to where he gets, or he finds out that somebody has his brother's lightsaber, and it's like, okay, well, he always knew that like that was his brother and something. So it would be him getting the lightsaber, maybe trying to avenge him in some way. Again, very, very base concept idea, but I was like, it would be so great to have Quentin Tarantino and Samuel L. Jackson working together on a Star Wars movie. And that was my way of like how he would be able to fit in a post Order 66 world, and also the correct age that Samuel L. Jackson is now.
Okay. Yeah. So that sounds amazing. Yeah. It sounds like there is hope for redemption. It's just
not with the people that are working there now.
Yeah.
They're all idiots.
They're all idiots. I hope you're listening. Do you get flack for being a Star Wars fan who's like a feminine woman instead of like a screeching feminist, or like not the typical like Star Wars fan or comic book fan?
Only from weirdos on Twitter. And I mean, I have some hardcore like haters, and I'm like, y'all get like your hate boners need to calm down. Like put some ice on it, because I really don't care. I mean, I feel like I do a really good job of like, I don't know, maybe grossing people out is the right word for it. Because I'm just, if anyone says anything about, oh, that I'm a feminine chick, I always just kind of remind them like, yeah, but I'm fucking weird. So,
And you're also not like doing it in a insincere way. You're like not leading with it. You're not, you're not like one of these people who's just like you could be wearing less, you know what I mean, and get like a lot of like, attention for it. Like you're just like, no, I'm here to talk about what I'm passionate about. And
so my biggest pet peeve is when you're having a conversation with someone and they're looking at your chest. They're having a conversation with your chest, not your face. So I'm like, there's a time and a place for stuff like that. Like when I go out with my boyfriend and I'm like, I want you to look at certain things. But here I'm like, it is so irritating, especially like when you meet I've had this happen in like real life. And it's like when you tell someone, oh yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. And it's like a pop quiz. It's like, okay, well, who is this?
Oh,
who is
God.
this? And then I just throw it back at them. And usually I can answer all their questions and they can't even answer my question.
You're like, you want to play this game?
It's like a quick trivia match and you find out real fast and they're like, oh, okay, you're cool. And so when it comes to that kind of stuff, I didn't want to build once I realized, okay, this is a thing, like I'm doing YouTube, I didn't want to build my channel based off of what I look like now, because I'm not going to look like this forever. I'm very aware that I'm aging, and I'm completely fine with the fact that I'm aging. I'm totally cool with it. So I didn't want to build something that is completely reliant on how I look like. I wanted it to be based off of what's in here and what comes out of my mouth. So I guess, I guess I could do a hot tub stream and, be in a bikini and get all of the money. But I would rather
stream. Yeah.
I mean, I got a job outside of this, so I'm not reliant on this. So it's one of those things that it's like, yeah, I'd prefer to have a conversation where you're not staring at my chest.
Yeah. And you can do it the way you like, which is great.
And I kind of still have my self-respect intact, which, I mean, it's completely fine for other people. Not dissing that in any way. It's just my personal perception on how I like things to go the way that I do things.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
My mom said the same thing. She's like, Anna,
take your shirt off.
She's like, I'm going to go take you and we're going to go buy new bras and get them up there. And I'm like, no.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
My mom always reminds me. She's like, you're not going to look like this forever, Anna. She's like, use it. And I was like, no, thank you.
Aw, she's like, I wish I had my tits out more when I was your age.
Well, my mom was basically a model, so she's just like,
oh my gosh, really? Wow.
Oh yeah, my mom was. I mean, she looked like, Olivia Newton-John when she was younger. So,
wow. Aw. Well,
and she blames like me she's like, it's because of you. You made me fat. Because I guess when she was pregnant with me, all she craved was like candy and chocolate.
You're like, sorry, I didn't ask to be born.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are some of the things you said you've been canceled so many times on Twitter? Like, what are some things that you've been like canceled over?
Oh, just saying common sense stuff.
Like, just common sense. Twitter hates common sense.
They really do. It's like, this is the thing with Twitter. It's like you can say the sky is blue, and some people could be like, no, it's actually the shade of indigo, and it's like, congratulations. It's fucking blue. Like, it's the same goddamn thing. No, it's cyan. And so really a lot of it happened when my channel first started. And then I made it because everyone is like, you need to be on Twitter. I was like, all right. And so talking about Star Wars and like just pointing out facts. And one of the things that they always like to do is, oh, well, it's toxic man babies. And I'm like, I'm not a toxic man baby, but I'm saying the same thing that my guy friend is saying. But so doesn't that make you the sexist because you only hear an opinion of one gender? That was back when there was only 2 genders. Now there's like 10 of them or 20.
Now there's 40. There's so many. Yeah,
but
too many.
That, of course, is the embodiment of all evil. And people on Twitter, they don't like to be wrong. And when you prove them wrong with facts, they block you and they lose their mind.
Blocked. Goodbye.
Yeah. So it's like that was actually one of the first times that I got canceled was I hate Raylo because Raylo is fucking weird. First off, they're like, what is it? She's his aunt. Like Rey is Kylo Ren's aunt. So that right there, it's like, oh, you like incest. All right. And then it's just There's no romance there. It's
Oh,
abuse.
yeah. I don't know.
There's nothing there that's romantic, but they all are fixated on it because they're trying to redo the whole Twilight thing. And so
Oh, wow.
I'm an artist and I follow a lot of artists on Instagram, and I saw this one artist that I've been following for years, right? And she does like a lot of Disney fan art. So I followed it like she had this cute little animated style. And it showed Kylo Ren and Rey, and it showed like their ages, like 13, like 15, and then it was like them naked together. And I was like, and I
Oh.
posted like it was like a screen recording where I was scrolling through the pictures, and I said, I really like this artist, but this is disturbing, right?
No,
And
yeah, I was not naked with anybody until
no, it's like come on, I get
19.
it that they're
Yeah.
both underage teenagers, but I'm like, this is disturbing because again, they're related, like, and it's an abusive.
Yeah.
If there is any kind of relationship there, it's an abusive, weird. She's not even interested in him. When he has a shirt off in The Last Jedi, she's like, "Put your shirt on. I'm uncomfortable."
Yeah. She's not interested in anybody. She's like not. She
Yeah, the
doesn't
only
come across
interesting
sexual.
person was Finn, who was like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And then they closed that down because, oh no, we're Disney, we're all about diversity. But the second we introduce like an interracial couple, no, that's pushing the boundaries. No, we can't.
Oh yeah, and then Finn ended up with that girl who was she like former First Order or something?
Oh my god, that shit! It just you can only have people that are matching. You can't have interracial couples, even though like a majority of the freaking world now is basically is.
Isn't that crazy? It's like they're woke and inclusive like to a certain point, and it's like very limited.
It's what can sell in China. Oh, well, we're gonna have a gay kiss.
China.
We're gonna have the lesbian kiss in The Rise of Skywalker, but oh, that's not okay in China. That's not okay in Middle Eastern countries. That's not okay in certain countries. So we're just gonna take it out. It's like, so you want a virtue signal and get woke points, but then you take it out for those countries. It's
You're
like,
just gonna bend over for whatever China wants. What are some other examples of things that have been changed like to suit China, basically?
Oh, well, I mean, like Finn, I think was the most compelling character in in the Disney sequel fan fiction trilogy of Star Wars. I mean, he was taken as a child, basically put into slavery, brainwashed. He has that moment where he snaps out of it, and then he defects from the First Order, and he goes on this adventure. Okay, right there. That's the most compelling character you have. What is Rey? She's a scavenger in the desert. Okay, that's not really interesting. Okay, she's got the Force. Okay, but what else? Like,
how did she get all these skills by herself? Like, who did she train with? You know?
Exactly. My thing, I had all of these fan theories that all just kind of went out the window, but it's like they diminished Finn's character from being one of the main characters, one of the most vital characters in the story, the guy that was literally the plot device moving everything through, and turned out to be a good guy since he literally defected. He could go anywhere in the galaxy, but he decides to stay and help Rey because he shows some kind of interest in her. It's like, oh wow, he's a chivalrous good guy. He also has this compelling backstory. And then they just turned him into comedic relief. And then they have him getting sexually assaulted by Rose. And it's like, do you guys not see what you're doing here? And then the thing with him on the poster, like, did you see that?
No. Did they like replace him or?
First they really pitched about what Lapita being in it, that she's going to be Maz Kanata. So they removed her from the Chinese poster, and then they shrunk Finn like to be teeny tiny.
Is it because Chinese people like don't really like black people? Like, yeah, basically
they're kind of racist. So.
Kind of. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah. Man, I didn't know that about the poster. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. And so I mean, again, the people that are running, like, especially the Star Wars Twitter, it's like they'll only say happy birthday to certain people. They won't say
interesting.
Others.
Wow.
John Boyega, like, straight up has said, like, he's not happy with what happened, and, you know, correcting certain things like, oh, you know, they fly now. And he's like, yeah, they've always been able to fly. Like, why is this? Like, the people that are in charge of Star Wars don't know anything about Star Wars, especially someone like J.J. Abrams. He does not know anything about Star Wars.
Wow. Why do you think he was brought in to begin with? Just because he's good? He's a name.
He brings in normies. So it's like, if you don't know anything about Star Trek, you'll probably like his Star Trek movies. If you don't know anything about Star Wars, you might like his Star Wars movies, because I think as far as he could be a great special effects director. I mean, he's good at doing that. He's good at making things look pretty. And I guess he's pretty good at taking orders from women like Kathleen Kennedy. But as far as getting facts right about franchises, I mean, just I could go on for hours and hours about how much he fucked up Star Trek just within like the first intro scene. But even with Star Wars, it's like, what are you doing? You're just trying to put all this jumble fuck in there and you're just messing everything up. And I mean, he's the one that put us in the situation with Luke being a failure that ran away from everyone, and Han and Leia having a failed marriage, and basically the First Order coming over and taking he put us in the situation. Rian Johnson made it worse, and he didn't even try to fix it. Well, I guess his attempt was just, let's add more spaceships and make things even more stupid. So he is not somebody that should be in charge of a franchise.
Yeah. I love it. I love the hot takes. Yeah, I can't imagine, like, I'm a late fan to this world, but I can't imagine to like through your whole childhood been just enamored with it all, like in love with it, and then to through the years, see it just not have it not done justice, I guess. I can't believe how frustrating it must feel. But it's good. Like
I lost my mind.
Disappointing. Yeah. I love it though. This is it's been so great to talk to you. Where, Anna, can people follow more of your videos? They can check out your YouTube channel here. But where else can they find you, follow you, and check out your work and also your art stuff?
So I have a YouTube channel called That Star Wars Girl, and it's the one with me as Princess Leia, and then got the little check mark, so that way you guys know that it's me, because there's a few other copycat accounts out there, which is kind of flattering.
Oh my God! Wow.
But so that's my channel. It's just That Star Wars Girl, and then I have a secondary channel called That Star Wars Girl Live, and so if you want to see any of my old live streams, they're there too. And then I have a third channel, which is my art channel, and it is the Art of Anna TSWG Studios. And then I am also over on Odyssey. I have an Instagram, and there's an art Instagram and just That Star Wars Girl Instagram. I'm on Twitter as That Star Wars Girl, and I have a Facebook page, which is That Star Wars Girl. Just if you look up That Star Wars Girl, you'll eventually find me. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Oh, boom. Go. Yes. And here's your, great. Amazing. Everybody follow Anna. Look at, if you're a huge Star Wars nerd, check out her stuff. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm very impressed with you.
Oh, thank you. Also, I have an Etsy store where I sell prints of my artwork. So if you go on Etsy, it is, what is my Etsy called? I think it's just, what is it? The Art of Anna TSWG. And so that is my Etsy, and you can go buy prints of my artwork if you guys are interested in that.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I'll have the links to all of these down in the comments so you guys can check out her work. Anna, thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, fellow Scorpio, Star Wars expert. Awesome. Great to talk to you, and I will catch you later.
Thanks for having me on.
Anytime.